The financial documents from the oil companies for 2022 revealed that the monies were already deducted last year for decommissioning. And that's the news of the moment. Thank you for listening.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Guyana, join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lal Show only on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Hears me, because what Exxon will hand to Guyana to keep us quiet, that the leaders, uncle, will use to make you feel nice and happy, it is very frightening. I am blessed with that vision to see through what they're planning, what they're scheming, they're thinking. This is what will happen. Exxon going to throw a 2%, 3% more royalty before 2025 and say we have been heeding the call. Yes, they're going to throw 2-3% and says they are heeding the call. We have taken into consideration the more discoveries we are making, and we are responding nicely with a 2% or 3%. We think you all deserve that. The leaders, on the other hand, will run with this to every village across this country and say, you see how good we are doing? Then they will go further and double or triple the school grants, the $40,000 grant. They're going to double or triple the 25,000 cash grant. They're going to do the same thing, uncle. Yes, with the pension package. And the once a year bonus. What they promise the military services with. Then, most of you will have nothing to complain about. Oh, we get enough now. Oh, Exxon is good to we. And the leaders are there for us. I am foreseeing all of this. Yes, uncle. All of this I am foreseeing from now. I only hope you guys will remember. Them going to give you a raise, so that I can forget how rich you really are. That's what they will do. A man puts it nicely when he says, salary is a drug your government gives you to forget your dreams. Let me repeat that. Salary is a drug your government gives you to forget your dreams, your worth, your value, your potential. Bonuses, cash grants, school grants are also drugs for you to forget what you really own, what you really worth, and what you should really get. And that's the fear, uncle. Yes, that's the fear I wake up with this morning. The pittance, the little crumbs that they will be throwing at you will sweeten you so much that you may want to throw mala around their necks to celebrate the kindness of the pittance they throw at you. That is my fear, that they will make you forget and lose sight of what you can really become. 2 weeks now, the Turkish national television station has been showcasing to the world Guyana's wealth. I went home last night and there it was again. I looked at that program 5 times already. I will play it tomorrow night just after the news at 7 p.m. Uncle and Auntie, I can do 100 programs on what came out in that interview. You would be listening to tomorrow. But time, yes, time, Uncle, is of the essence. In a nutshell, you would hear Guyana would be the 4th largest oil producer in the world in just a few years by 2027. The oil curse will hit Guyana harder than any country on earth with these leaders we have. Corruption at the top with a 1% of the population will heighten to enrich them only, Uncle, leaving the masses to scramble whatever scraps are left. Please ensure you all listen to the program, because it makes me sick whenever I listen to it. You would hear one of the respected financial experts said in that program, the way he's seeing this contract, even the highways and the roads the government going to build is not for the Guyanese people. Uncle, like I said, when I listen and listen keenly to what came out in that program, it's really sickening. You guys have to listen to it for yourself. Tomorrow at 7, just after the news, maybe 7:05, 7:10. You have to make sure you listen to it. And let's get back to the fear I woke up with this morning. It disappeared during the course of the day. I don't know if it will come back into me tomorrow morning when I wake. Uncle, the salaries, the grants, the increase that will come your way will buy you new panties, brassieres, briefs, and a Chinese flip-flop for your feet. You will have a few dollars in your pockets to hold a Banks beer or a Guinness in your hand on the street corner, to which you will be so excited that you will forget not only your dreams, but you will forget who you are and what you are worth in this country called Guyana. Every oil export, every financial export this world has, everybody who knows a little about oil is warning Guyana to correct themselves. Fix that contract. You are the richest people in the world. Behave like one. Protect your people. Stand up for what is rightfully yours. Even Trotman, who signed the contract, can't live with himself. Break his silence and say, hey guys, Guyana, this contract can change for the betterment of all its people, and is willing to join with his expertise as a lawyer and a trained negotiator to make it happen. Instead, Bara Jagdeo hugged the man. Instead, and said, boy, come on board. He reacting or I should say, instead he react with joy to what Trotman is willing to do. He cussing down the man. Even cussing down the coalition. Uncle, auntie, listen to me carefully. That 1999 1% contract signed by Janet Jagan, had the PPP won the 2015 elections, it would have remained at the same 1% today. I want to repeat that. 1999 contract Janet Jagan signed with 1%. Had the PPP government won the 2015 elections, we would have still been living with that 1% today. With Bharat Jagdeo at the side of Donald Ramotar. It is even more evident with him sitting at the side of the young president now. What's he doing? What is Vice President Jagdeo doing sitting beside our young President Ali? Nothing. Nothing he would have changed under Ramotar if they had won the election in 2015, and nothing he will change now with President Ali. When you talk about change, he's ready to insult you. Insult you with words, or his face looking like, where you want to take away bread from eggs and mouth? That's his attitude. Ever since he was president, looking out for all the foreign companies in front of the people who own the resources and the people who put him in office. God knows why he removed them in 2015. At least Raphael Trotman moved the royalty from 1% to 2%, which we all know is a sellout. The world knows it. And most of all, Bharat Jagdeo himself knows it's a sellout and views down about it. I keep on asking a simple question all the time. What is it that Exxon could have done to this man? What he collect from Exxon, or what he's set to collect from Exxon, that he's not making any attempt whatsoever to have this contract renegotiated? What, uncle? What is going on between him and ExxonMobil? Why is he so defensive of all Exxon's interests? Why? He should come out and tell the nation something. Friday, I listed more than 20 things and showed you people how he's defending ExxonMobil in every step of the way. The court cases about the taxes, about the insurance, about the environmental protection. The man there on Exxon side. The call now, renegotiation of the contract. This man and there on the Guyanese people side. Wait, auntie. Wait, man. I will allow Jagdeo for make I live. Settling for panties, brassieres, brief and Chinese flip-flop. Is that what you decide to settle for? That is the kind of thing I decide to settle for the rest of your life? I hope not. I hope not. Too many people starving in this country. I wake up with this thing on my mind. Your salary, uncle. Your salary is a drug that makes you forget what you own, your value, your future. Salary, are you working for, man? Salary of nothing. Can't even carry you a week in the market. A senior police officer nearing retire went last week to beg one of his friends to borrow $10,000 to buy food. This story is not a shame. The man was willing to go to his friend and say, buddy, I want $10,000 for care home food. Uncle, it was not a shakedown or corruption. He's a friend to the man. This is where we are. The richest people on earth today, with only oil, uncle. You have a police officer, a senior police officer near retirement, going and beg a friend for $10,000. The man called me and I asked him, I said, can I talk this? So he said, yeah, man. He hesitated first. And he said, yeah, man. A big businessman. He said, let him talk it. If he hear, he hear. It's truth. In a rich country like this today, the richest country like this today, uncle, with only oil. I didn't put in or count gold. I didn't add bauxite or manganese. I didn't bring in the timber and all the other rest of minerals we have. Just oil alone, uncle. Are you please come alive? Come alive before 2025. Or they're going to skin you one by one. Alive. Right now, Exxon and Barra Jagdeo, including President Ali and Norton, is performing post-mortem on this nation while we are still alive. Yes, that's what they're doing. How you guys can sit back and allow this? What more are they going to do to you people to get your eyes to open? Senior police officer begging a friend for $10,000 last week for buy food, man. All of you clapping at your hands. 12 new hospitals to build with borrow money. Where are they finding the doctors, nurses, and technicians from? Jagdeo and President Ali will take the roles. Schools building all over. Where are the teachers? All these $5 building they're putting up, they're telling us here's $100. $95 gone in their pockets on every one of those projects. Oh man. Oh brother and sister, you gotta wake up. You really need to wake up. Jagdeo's best friend Mr. Su, the richest Chinese man in Guyana. I promised to do a program on that tape. I don't think you guys fully understand what came out of that undercover investigation done by the Vice News with Jagdev and Mr. Su. I don't think so. I will have to do it. I'll have to do that program. And give Jagdev more reasons to cuss. I'll do it. I'll give it. That's the only thing he does these days. Cussing down and abusing down. Especially if you talk about ExxonMobil or corruption. When I listen to him, I sometimes tell my staff, Jagdev is ExxonMobil pitbull. And President Ali is a puppy wagging his tail behind. While Norton and Ramjatan saying, cute puppy, cute puppy. Tug him, Jagdev, tug him along. Selling out a whole country with its resources. And are you celebrating CARICOM Day? At the introduction of Joshua, he did ask Mr. Lal, how was your weekend and how you spend the CARICOM Day? You notice I didn't answer him? What is there to celebrate, uncle? Huh? CARICOM Day? What is there? We can't even get our people, Guyanese people, to sell coconut water in Trinidad or Barbados. We can't get honey sell in any one of the CARICOM nations. And you celebrating CARICOM Day? What is it to celebrate about? What is there? The newspapers got CARICOM Day greetings. They all put it on the front page. Last night, the people making up the front page for the Kaieteur News had it there. And when I went to do the finished product, I told them to get it off. Take it off. There's nothing to celebrate about CARICOM or CARICOM Day. Everybody wants everything from us at the cheapest price or free, as in the case of ExxonMobil. But we can't get nothing. And you talking about CARICOM Day? Celebrate CARICOM Day, Joshua? You better start talking about tomorrow from tonight. Where this country is heading and where your future lies. That is what you should be looking out for and celebrating or talking about. Lose sight of your dreams. Lose sight of your resources, of your value. The doghouse waiting for every one of you. With a very ugly puppy inside. Poverty I'm talking about, uncle. That's the puppy name. I witnessed what happened in Trinidad and Tobago in the early 80s. All the rum shops open before 7 and full before 8 in the morning. When you talk about carnival, the world knew about Trinidad with that. The best carnival on earth, Trinidad. Why, uncle? The little cash grants the school grants, the bonuses were flowing like a river without a coca. Man, was bacchanal every day in Trinidad. I used to trade at the time every week on the plane to New York. 2 weeks before Carnival. Man, uncle, when you used to have 1 and 2 flights per day into Trinidad, then to Guyana, they had to bring 5 or put on 4 and 5 flights with double-decker planes per day for the Carnival. The pilots, them, partying on the planes with the passengers, how happy they were going for Carnival. Don't talk about the costumes. Man, no country has ever had such. Not one country ever beat Trinidad Carnival back in those days, or on to this day, with costumes. Money was flowing. Oil and gas done today, uncle. The money done. Well, last you hear about Carnival in Trinidad, it dead. It's a ghost country you're looking at today. Where Trinidad was in the 80s is where Guyana will become. Give it a little time. Just give it a little time. The little crumbs that coming, you will be celebrating like the Trinis, thinking this is life. We are on top of the world. Just like that, the Trinis were, auntie. The white people shy a little change at them. Man, and they carry on. They throw a little change and fetch out everything from them. And they were carrying on. Was Carnival every day. Like I said, I used to trade there. I know the entire Trinidad. I think I know Trinidad more than Guyana. That is exactly what they will do to Guyana. And that is what I am afraid of. I see it in Trinidad. And I witness it in Africa. And I am foreseeing worse to come here. With these leaders you have. Don't worry. That 2% can move. And a little more ravelings will come your way. That you will forget. More than your dreams. You will even forget your names. It's all planned out by these incompetent and corrupt politicians. Whichever name y'all want to call them, or whichever name y'all believe suits them, along with the foreign gangsters. Yes, they don't plan this thing out. I am dreaming it, envisioning it. I am smelling, tasting, eating, walking, and taste it. All they're waiting for, uncle, is the right time to give a surprise birthday present. That I can build a little shack. Buy couple panties, 2 briefs, and a baseball cap. Oh, I am so scared for Guyana and all of you people. I sat and had a drink with an ex-government minister in Ghana when I was there. He said, Glenn, I watched from the inside as many of his colleagues in government settle for a fancy house in a nice residential neighborhood with a few dollars, and they sell that whole country out. He said, Glenn, I had to leave government. They couldn't handle me, and I couldn't handle them. So before they take me out, I stepped out. That is the style and standard of the foreign exploiters wherever they've been and wherever they are today. They are in your country, uncle. Yes, auntie, they're right here. And you have some politicians here who are godly, very decent, and extremely honest, who never think about themselves, always thinking about their people. Yes, they're thinking about you every minute, uncle. Bara Jagdev is one of them. And I believe Norton is one too. I may be wrong. You guys been around them a long time. You all know who rich and who poor, or who turn rich overnight, jumping into political offices. I know that better than Glenn Lal. I know a lot, but some of you know more than me. Trotman come out. Yes, the man come out his shell. And we must give him credit, uncle. We should give this man credit for that. Although it's a bit late, we should give him credit. Mistakes made can, should, and must be corrected, man. It is how mankind function. Ask a child. He or she knows it. They make a mistake. No, Papa, I will correct it. Yes, Mama, I am sorry. I'm not going to do it back again. That is what Trotman is saying to the nation. I made a mistake and I want to help correct it if the leaders want to. That's what the man is saying today. Where is your leaders, uncle? The man have spoken, going on over a week now. Not a word you hear from Norton's mouth. Not a word you hear from President Ali's mouth or Ramjatan's mouth. All you hear is what Bara Jagdev said at a press, not a press conference, a press engagement, he said. That's all you hear. And he abused the man down. Uncle and auntie, I don't know where some of us stand on this matter. But Glenn Lal is with Trotman, and I want to be part of that renegotiation too. Renegotiation so that every Guyanese can have their own mansions. They can wear the best of robes, suits and gongs that glitters, just like ExxonMobil them. Every Guyanese must have a bank book, a financial cushion, uncle, so their children and grandchildren, yes, your children and grandchildren, don't have to run to America and Europe like what is going on presently in the Arabian, African, and Asian world. No, uncle, no. We have to see our real dreams fulfilled, not with a few panties, bokta, and flip-flops. Our dreams must be fulfilled the same way Exxon and their people, their shareholders, their families enjoying life. Why they must be boasting on our wealth while we are waiting on handouts and grants? Why they must be smiling while the Guyanese people are in tears going to bed hungry? Why they must be celebrating from our resources while a senior retired officer, near to retire officer, begging his friend to borrow 10,000, which is $50 to buy food for his family? How can this thing be, man? How can this be fair? Mr. Jagdeo, Mr. Ali, Mr. Norton and Ramjatan? How? You guys can be upset with me all you want. But Glenlal going nowhere. I ain't changing. I haven't changed in 29 years with the Kaieteur News, and I don't intend to ever change. Don't ever think I will change now. I will only change when the Guyanese people get justice from their resources. This has been my dream and now my life, and it will be my ongoing story, morning, noon and night. Yes, uncle. Until every Guyanese get the fullness out of their birthright, I will not rest. Come on, guys. Come on, man. We are not asking for what doesn't belong to us, man. No, we are not asking for what belongs to somebody else. We don't want to rob anybody too. But yet we do not want to be robbed. How can silence be an option, man? How can I zip my lips and clasp my hands? That's a sin, uncle. And it's a terrible sin, auntie. Today is a holiday, and I wanted to stay home. But the maker would not allow me to do that. Robbery doesn't have a holiday. Check and see if Exxon got holiday out there. No. They're pumping our oil, draining it away, Sunday to Sunday, including holidays. Oil don't have Christmas, uncle. Oil is Christmas. But Christmas for who? Oil got CARICOM Day. Oil is Christmas for the Chinese and the Americans out there and all the rest of foreigners. And like I said, I ain't counting gold, diamond, bauxite, timber, manganese, nothing else. These people having Christmas every day. So why am I staying home? This is how I want to spend my CARICOM Day. And I will spend every other holiday the same way until this nation receives what God Almighty has given us. Please, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Eat it, drink it, or swallow it. That's a message for Exxon and all the leaders of this country. This fight or journey, whatever you want to call it, uncle, is only warming up. The tempo, the heat is coming. And the ExxonMobil and the leaders of this country, I better prepare for it. Do the honorable thing. The people of this country will not jump around in the streets with their bare panties and brassieres, Buckton slippers, knowing a thief in their thing. No. No, they wouldn't. No. They will stand up. We will fight until we can wear robes and suits and guns and live in mansions the way you people are living with our wealth. We want to be at the table. We don't want to be in the menu on the table. That's how you have us. When I was in Zimbabwe, the news break of how girls and women were forced to make use of rags, newspapers, mud, and worst of all, cow dung as sanitary pads because of dreadful poverty there. Zimbabwe, uncle, wasn't a poor country. No. It used to be one of the richest countries in Africa. Their corrupt leaders allow the foreigners to rape the country dry. Today, that's the nightmare they're living in. I remember entering the hotel, the smell of it. I wanted to check out immediately to go to another hotel. The manager said, Mr. Lal, this is the best hotel in Zimbabwe. Imagine that. A country that was blessed with an abundance of riches, rich minerals. Look what it has reached. Doesn't have a proper hotel. And look what the girls and the women reduced to. Using cow dung to make sanitary pads. That can happen in Guyana. And it will never happen in Guyana, uncle. Glenn Lal will never allow our leaders to take us down that dark road. No. I don't know about you, uncle and auntie. I will never allow them to take us down that road. This contract must be renegotiated. If not, Bara Jagdeo must vacate that office. Bara Jagdeo must go. He is the hindrance. He is the black sheep. He is the sellout. He is the snake in the grass. If this contract cannot be renegotiated, Let's get him out of power. He needs to be sent packing, because every day he sits there, he becomes a greater danger to this country and all of us, Joshua. Thank you, Miss Mortley. Let me taste this tea, please. I should have been taking a minute break with an ad to sip my tea. Thank you, Miss Mortley. It tastes good. Oh. He's the greatest danger to this country and all of us, Uncle. And let me tell you why. Every time he approved these US billion-dollar projects, he is repeating and continuing the mistakes of Raphael Trotman's contract. The same contract we cost before. He now continuing. And that's the danger he putting Guyana and all of us in. And he knows it. He knows it, Uncle. What a friend Exxon has. Not in Jesus, but in Jack Dale. You know the song?
Yes.
What a friend we have in Jesus?
Yes.
Yeah? I love it. Mm-hmm. I can sing it too. I know it. Uncle, Auntie, if Jack Dale is not removed from power, it will be the destruction of this country and all of us. Power is all that matters to this man. Power means money, and the more money he is put in control of, is the more power he gets. This man is obsessed with power. Let me give you guys a sketch of Bara Jagdev and power. He served a total of 12 years as president of this country. And I don't want to ask you to show me anything he did. Let's leave that out for tonight. 2 years left back from Janet Jagan, and 2 full 5 terms this man sit as president. That wasn't enough for Jagdeo. He wanted a third term. Just before his second term expired in 2011, he called me to meet him at State House one night. I thought it was something important, only to hear him telling me he is still young, still a young man, and have a lot more to offer this country. Don't you believe I should have a third term? I asked him, what about the 2 terms? The 2-term limit the Constitution says. He said he signed it into law. And tell me, if me and Adam can push in the newspapers for him to get a third term, it can happen. And we chatted a little about it. He was all for it, but I had problems with that. One question from me that put a halt to it was when I asked him if he wants to become another Chavez in Guyana. And done the conversation done there. Yes. When I asked him if he wants to become another Chavez in Guyana. Uncle, lo and behold, a few days later, Guyana wake up to see a big billboard, a big signboard on Rab Street. Jagdeo for third term. The next day, Kaieteur News exposed him and objected to it. Then I think 1 or 2 days later, the rest of the media and people from his own party, including Donald Ramotar, jump out and say, no, 2 terms is 2 terms. Go your way. No more posters was put up. The next thing, uncle, all the billboard they put up disappear. When the Guyanese people believe that was the end of this term jingle or jingle bell, whichever one you want to call it, and Jagdev gone away, the man had another card up his sleeve. A citizen named Cedric Richardson come out and file a petition in the court in support of a term. And when Jagdev was asked, he said he had nothing to do with that. We had a good laugh in the office hearing that answer. This matter, uncle, was heard in Guyana's highest court. And guess what? They ruled in favor of term for Jagdev. 2 judges voted yes and 1 said no. But when the matter went to the CCJ, yes. But when the matter moved to the CCJ, uncle, Caribbean Court of Justice, 6 of the 7 judges said, is where y'all going with this dead dog? And promptly kick it out the court. That's how he arranged for Ramotar to become president. He had 2 things in mind. Make Ramotar a puppet president and control him, which he did in every way. Ramotar out and Ali in as the new puppet president. Let me ask this question. Who is the face of Guyana everywhere? Mr. Ali or Mr. Jagdev? And I don't mean the face on the billboards alone, but at press conferences and high-level meetings. Where is Dr. Ali? Where do you see him? Dr. Ali may have some power as president, but who got the real power behind the scene? Who's in charge of almost everything in Guyana, especially the oil? Mr. Ali or Professor Jagdev, Josh? Let me end by sharing this beautiful story with all of you. The head of GRA, Koshit Satar, God bless his soul. I don't know if this man knew he would have dead, but he called me late one night at my office and tell me to meet him in a street in Camberville. I found it strange because he didn't call me from his phone. It was a strange number he used to call me. I couldn't even recognize his voice. But when he said, "You don't recognize his voice?" I said, oh. So I went, uncle. He told me come alone, which I did. Was in a dark street. This man parked up blinking lights on me. I sat in his vehicle and he said, "Glenn, I call you here to clear my conscience with you." He said, "I had nothing to do with the seizure of your vehicles." He said he was called to office of the president, and when he arrived and walked in the office of President Ramotar, Bharat Jagdev was standing while our good President Ramatar was sitting in his chair. He told me all he see and heard was Jagdeo telling Ramatar, look, the man come. Tell him. Satar said, Glenn, Ramatar looked at Jagdeo, looked at looked back at Jagdeo, and seems as if he was at a loss. Like President Ramatar didn't know what to say or what to do, whether to stand up or sit down. And after realizing that Ramatar will not give him any instructions, Jagdeo pointed to him and said, Go and seize Glenlal vehicles. He said he looked at Ramatar, and Ramatar didn't say a single word. Glenn, Jagdeo told me to go and do it now. He said, break the fence if the gate got padlock. The poor fella said, Glenn, I had to do what Jagdeo said, because the president just sat there with his mouth closed, glancing, staring, as if he has no power. At the time I was with my family in Hawaii when the incident happened. And the rest is now history. I still love Jagdeo. Afraid of him? Afraid of him, uncle? 50 million like he. And Exxon cannot move me into the spirit of fear. 50 million like he. And y'all better get up. Get out. Extreme danger lies ahead. I am playing my part. Some of my reporters and friends are playing their role too. You have to step up and step out that coma y'all in. Today there was a protest at the Square of the Revolution on the alleged rape allegation committed against a school child by a government minister. It was they had a good audience. I only wish that same audience can join in a fight, not only for that one child, but for all Guyana and themselves. I applaud them for going out, uncle, and hold that vigil to ensure the police and the DPP give this nation justice. Joshua, had I known, I would have been present to give my support, because I believe, and it has happened before with me, where a sitting colonel in the Guyana Defense Force stole my shoes, and when he realized he was going to be charged the next day, he ran home to my house the night before, offered me to settle that matter with him. I agreed and went to the police the next morning, uncle, give a statement to that effect and left. Joshua, you know what happened after? The next day? The Colonel Godwin McPherson, was charged and placed before the court for larceny, theft, uncle.
Although you give a statement.
Yes, although I give that statement that I do not wish to proceed with this complaint I made. Yes, uncle, he was charged. I was told the DPP said, an offense was committed, let all settlements be done in court. That matter, Joshua? Dragged on for 2 years before he was set free. This schoolgirl, this child, is claiming not larceny or theft, but rape and sodomy. Why would any police or DPP entertain settlement? Whatever becomes of our court system, I don't know. I'm just asking. I hope to see those people seeking justice for that young lady. Yes, I hope to see them fighting for justice also in every other possible way, including fighting to renegotiate this contract too. And with that, Uncle, I just want to say namaste. My good friend Professor Lumumba said, they control the media everywhere they go. Which media house is talking about the foreigners and what they are doing in this country, Uncle? Which one of them is talking about ExxonMobil? Not one of them, but the Kaieteur News. I will play this tape for you to listen to him. Yes. And you tell me, come Wednesday, if what this man is saying about Africa is not the exact thing going on in Guyana. You would also hear him say, we must always remind ourselves, if our mind is conquered, we are going nowhere. Oh, one of the things he also say that you will hear. He said they're building hospitals all over Africa, yet they're running overseas for treatment. They're building schools all across Africa and universities. And look where they're sending their children. Joshua, before you play it, just take some phone calls.
When I look at Africa, many questions come to mind. Many times I ask myself, what would happen if Mwalimu were to rise up and see what is happening? Many times I ask myself, what would happen if Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Emery Lumumba were to rise up and see what is happening? Because what they would be confronted with is an Africa where the Democratic Republic of Congo is unsettled. There is a war going on there, but it is not on the front pages of our newspapers, because we don't even control our newspapers and the media. As I speak to you, the Central African Republic is at war, but we talk of it only mutedly. As I speak to you now, in South Sudan, the youngest nation in Africa, the Nuer have risen against the Dinka. As I speak to you now, Eritrea is unsettled. As I speak to you now, there is an ease in Egypt as there is an ease in Libya. In Niger it is no better. In Senegal, in the Casamance is no better. In Somalia is no better. Africa is at war with herself. This is what they would be confronted with. They would be confronted with an Africa which statisticians and romantic economists say is growing, but which in truth is stagnated. That is the Africa that they would be confronted with. They would be confronted with an African which, as Professor Mlama intimated in our presentation here is an African which is suffering from schizophrenia. He does not know herself. They would be confronted with an African whose young men and women have no interest and low love for their continent. They would be confronted with an Africa where young men and young women are constantly humiliated at the embassies of European countries and at the United States of America as they seek the almighty green card. They would be confronted with an Africa where young men and women from Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, and Mauritania drown in the Mediterranean as they seek to be enslaved in Europe. This time round, Africans are not wailing and kicking as they are being taken away to be enslaved. They are being seen wailing and kicking as they seek to be enslaved in Europe and America. This is the tragedy of Africa. They'll be confronted with an African where people have lost their self-pride. An Africa where Africans are not proud of their things. An Africa where in the hotels of Dar es Salaam or Nairobi, even food has foreign names. When we fry potatoes, we call them French fries, even when they are fried in Dar es Salaam. That is the Africa that they would be confronted with. They would be confronted with another Africa. An Africa which does not tell her story. An Africa whose story is told by Europe and America, the CNN, Radio Deutsche Welle, Radio France. That is the Africa they would be confronted with. They would be confronted with the young men and women who have no pride in Africa. When they want to enjoy themselves, they sing the praises of football teams from Europe and America. It is Manchester United. It is Arsenal. It is Real Madrid and Barcelona, not Yanga, not Mufulira Wanderers, not Gor Mahia, not FC Leopards. No. That is the Africa that they would be confronted with. They would be confronted with an Africa which does not enjoy the theater and drama. That Africa celebrates Leonardo DiCaprio. It celebrates Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. The Africa does not celebrate Genevieve Naji of Nigeria or Rita Dominic or Lou Jacobs of Nigeria. It does not celebrate Bongo Wood or Nollywood or Riverwood. It celebrates Hollywood. That is the Africa with which they would be confronted. They would be confronted with African women whose greatest source of joy is cheap grade B Mexican soap opera, La Patrona, La Mujer de mi Vida, The Rich Also Cry. Why must we remind ourselves of these realities? Because throughout the ages, the battle has always been the battle of the mind. And if your mind is conquered, then you are going nowhere. And that is why in the ages of enlightenment in Europe, the great René Descartes said, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. And therefore, if Africans are to begin to make a contribution in their affairs, Africans must begin to think. But the question is, are we thinking? We have universities in their numbers. Tanzania has universities including Dar es Salaam. Nairobi has universities, as indeed Kampala, as indeed South Africa, Johannesburg. We have all these universities. We have engineers. But our roads are not being made by Tanzanian civil engineers. It is the Chinese who are present in this assembly who are making our roads. So we have engineers who cannot even make roads. We have doctors whom we have trained. But when we are sick, particularly if we are of the political class, depending on who colonized you, if you are colonized by the United Kingdom, you rush to London. If you are colonized by the French, you rush to Paris. If you are colonized by the Portuguese, you rush to Lisbon. And if you are colonized by the Spaniards, you rush to Madrid, Spain. And recently, because the Asians are beginning to get their act together, we run to India. And very lately, because the Arabs are also beginning to get their act together, we run to Dubai. Notwithstanding that we have the Kenyatta hospitals of this country, the Muhimbilis of Tanzania, the Chris Hani Baragwanaths of South Africa, and the Mama Yemos of Kinshasa in Zaire or the Democratic Republic of Congo, but we have no faith in our doctors. In the area of education, we also don't have faith. Our political class introduced something that they call free education, but it's free indeed, free of knowledge. Because they are so suspicious of those institutions that the typical African politician would not dare take their children to those schools. Their children will be educated in the British system, in the American system, so that when they graduate, they go to the United Kingdom, to the United States. Not that there is anything wrong with those institutions, but the agenda is wrong because our leaders long lost the script and ought to be described for who they are, our misleaders. But we are co-authors of our own misfortune. Whenever we are given an opportunity to elect our leaders, we are given a blank check. And if you give me a blank check and you allow me to analogize, and you say that I'm given the blank check to buy a Mercedes-Benz, what we do is that when we are called upon, having been so empowered, we buy what one calls a tuk-tuk from India and expect it to behave like a Mercedes-Benz. How does that happen? Because what we do is to elect thieves. We elect hyenas to take care of goats, and when the goats are consumed, we wonder why.